Well, let's continue. Uh, Among these four potential issues related to global financial system, um, I have already talked on certain questions related to our financialization, and I won't necessarily answer those questions, leave them to you. Um, Although I will show you some data. So this is financial sector's share of GDP. I think this is the whole world. Um, from 1950s to 2010s, early 2010s, it has increased to 8%. And then you see this as the GDP share of financial system in the United States. Well, the whole financialization question partially also comes from this side of the graph. I mean, you can see right before the major crisis of the world economic system, British economic system, you also have the over financialization and then sharp fall in the percentage of financial system, although not to the value which was before 1880s, and it's rise up again, and it is roughly 3%, where previously before 1880s it was around below 2%, and then it has come to 4%ish in 1960s and 70s. There is actually a rise also in 1950s, but in 1980s and 2000s you have a sharp rise in the financial system. Well, 50s were relatively seen as the normal periods, basically. So this is just well, the, well, are there any potential differences between this rise from, which is approximately 0.1%, and this rise, which is 4%? I mean, of course, the sizes are much more different, but does it mean just the development of the financial system is a thing that is, the economic system is the thing that is actually getting financial system, the share of financial system up, since in 1950s, when we have a healthy economy, it also drove the financial system up. So this graph might make us ask a lot of questions. And this is United States, this is not the world. That's something we should be careful of also. So in UK, for example, the graph might look different. We should look to UK. And this is the debt question, basically. This is the household is the one that is blue. Red one is non-financial business, and financial business is the green one. As you have seen, basically, I mean, especially financial businesses have actually taken a lot of debt, basically, which is almost 150% of the GDP. Household debt has grown from kind of 40-ish% to maybe 75-ish%, doubled basically. And then it has decreased with the 2008 financial crisis. And non-financial businesses actually remained more or less the same in terms of debt. This is globe. In the world, actually, the government, when you look at government, here you can see that it has start from the this is 20 trillion, I believe. It is kind of the government debt has kind of increased by 50%, which means there are certain governments which actually do not increase their government debt, at least for the period 2000 and 2015, although the actual increase has started at 2007, 6, 7. So this is a much smaller period. You should be careful with that. Non-financial corporates in the world has actually increased their debt. Note that this is the period after also. I mean, this it goes beyond this, the end of this period, and households have increased their debt drastically in the world. So the main point of the financial debt is actually, I mean, it might be, and well, this is another graph, global debt. I don't know why I wrote this. I should change this probably. I mean, so you see that, well, compared with 2000, basically, household debt has doubled, corporate debt has also kind of doubled, government debt has increased almost threefold, and financial debt has also more than doubled. So you see actually, in general, you have, well, the depth of the world, and this is as percentage of GDP, has almost doubled, actually more than doubled in all components. And previous in 2000 it was 17% of the total GDP. Now it is 200% of the global GDP. Should be worried since all debt is basically given by someone else. So basically, I mean, if there are certain people who are debtors, there are certain people who will get the debt. So it's between them. We may, because in many ways, I mean, the people's ability to make payments might depend on whether or not they will receive that debt. So if they are not able to receive that debt, if, I mean, a small number of the debtors are not able to pay the amount they owe, in that case, well, this can create a chain reaction. More people might not be able to make their payments because they might be relying on that debt, and then this will make even more people not be able to pay. And in return, if the number of people who are not able to pay is sufficiently large, it might start to damage even the financial institutions, which might also basically need to pay to the people who have their money in the banks or have make investments in those financial institutions. And government might not be helped to those institutions if basically government debt is also very high, which is at this point 58% of the basically in 2014, 58% of the global GDP level. So that's the main point. And also the fact that many people are working with debt might also mean, I mean, increase in debt might also mean that people might be over investing. I mean, they might the economy might be so heated up. I mean, instead of relying on their own funds, they might also getting other funds to invest. But also profit rates might not be that high. I mean, that might be also something that could increase the debt level. So it should be looked up what is actually driving debt. And again, I'm leaving the question to you. The answer of to making the research to answer this question to you. Lender and borrower of the last resort. This is an interesting question, interesting aspect actually, and actually it is telling us a certain aspect of the, and actually kind of hidden aspect of the global financial system up to US dominated economic system. Up to US dominated world economic system was up to the point when it was founded. Well, in the world, you don't have a definite financial system. You don't have a definite global currency. Gold was kind of functioning like global currency, although pound was also kind of acting as a semi-global currency. And the countries are still acting kind of independently, especially at least the developed countries. The colonies might be, and some countries might be semi-independent. I mean, the other countries might dictate their financial policies, like Ottoman Empire, which was not able to pay its debts, and in the end, I mean, the budget of the financial Ottoman Empire was governed, managed by a committee of developed countries, basically. which is, by the way, the center of it is today's Istanbul Erkek Lisesi, the center of this committee, which was Committee of Developed Countries, European countries, which was managing the Ottoman budget. But even for those developed countries which were supposedly independent, usually a certain center is acting like the global financial center, which means the agents of the world economic system, which might be private companies, which might be states that need debt, go there, and that center is acting like the lender of last resort. And as the economic system becomes more problematic, the profit rates go down. And at the center, this also happens. And many people who need the money also go to the center to make them get that debt. And those centers become kind of the financial dominance in these centers become even more prominent, more visible in that case. And usually those financial centers are feeding the next hegemony because, the most profitable investments are happening in the countries which will, in the end, be candidate countries to replace the old hegemony. So Dutch bankers have invested in UK investments, and UK bankers have invested in financed the investment in USA. This doesn't happen in today's world. So USA, at least in today's world, is not acting as a lender of last resort. On the contrary, whenever there is a crisis, most countries come to USA and lend their money to USA. Because they think USA is the safest place to lend your money. At least you know that it's able to pay that money. But that also means at the time of crisis, USA is not anymore. It is not a country. Has not become a country like UK, Dutch, Italian city-states, which just, at facing low profits, just borrow money to the rest of the world and finance them. Industrial development in those countries. Rather, to maintain its maybe living standards and economy to some extent maybe also, and government institutions, United States needs more money. You need lend more money to the United States. And United States takes this money from the rest of the world, and it gets a very large amount of debt in return. That's an interesting development, certainly. What does it mean is a big discussion. According to some economists, this means, the whole world economic system is leading to a much more bigger transformation because maybe there is no candidate for hegemony anymore. Although in China, there's obviously industrial developments, and there are some other candidate countries where industrial development is taking place, like India, for example. And Brazil and South Africa are also countries where there are some economic development with some breaks also. But the financial system of US is not necessarily, when you look to the net debt taken and received, they are not necessarily financing the Chinese people. Although capital itself is going to those countries and investing, and that could be one important difference in today's case. And IMF is certainly, and that could be another difference. In previous world periods of world economic system, there was no institution which was lender of last resort. Although now IMF is officially the lender of last resort. And that might actually also have decreased the need for an unofficial lender of last resort. But that's another discussion related to world financial system. Now, financial mobility. This will be our next topic in the next part, basically, since we are very close to 15 minutes mark.